Last time we talked about the pillar of prevention, and prior to that we looked at the importance of preparation. And so today we're going to continue with our third pillar, which is going to be response. And all of the pillars are interwoven because we know that we are going to respond in the way that we have prepared to respond, and we're going to respond when our prevention measures to mitigate the incident in the first place may not be as effective as we had hoped they would be. Response is going to be driven by our internal policies and procedures, or standard operating guidelines, which are hopefully based on best practices in the industry and the training that we have been receiving. We know we won't be able to prevent all activity. And so the goal in response is to be able to use some predetermined policies, procedures, and techniques to correctly respond in a critical incident. We can never what if every possibility when it comes to our response. We have overall trained for the types of events that are most likely to occur at our house of worship through preparation to make certain that we're taking the best care possible of those that may be involved in the incident. When we look at response, we may respond to a variety of different types of incidents. The most common incident that we see a response in our houses of worship for is medical. Whether that's a heart attack, a stroke, or some sort of injury that occurs on the campus, we recognize that medical emergencies are going to be the #1 response. Beyond medical emergencies, we need to be prepared for a wide variety of different types of incidents. We could have a child go missing from the children's ministry. We could end up with trespassers, with disturbances, with lots of low-level criminal activity that's disruptive to the environment. And we also need to be prepared for those rare events that have high criticality so that we're ready to respond in the event of active violence in our house of worship. So when we look at response, if I had to pick the single most critical component, I would have to say it's going to be mindset. And when we look at mindset, we want to make sure that not only does our safety ministry and medical ministry team members have a good understanding of what their mindset needs to be to problem solve, but we even look at training the congregants, because what we know is that mindset is going to be the deciding factor in most of the incidents. A lot of times we like to think about the tools that we may need, but tools aren't going to be effective if we don't have people that are prepared to make decisions and utilize which tools need to be used for an appropriate circumstance and how they're to be used. That means that we have to be equipped with the proper mindset. And that mindset really comes from training. Whether it's congregational level training where we're teaching them what to do in the event of active violence, or whether it is preparing the safety and security ministry for the steps they need to take to make certain first responders can find the correct location on campus. All of that is done through training. Whether we look at classroom training to begin with on what is a mindset that is important for our lives for this area, all the way up to simulated incident response and scenario-based training. One of the things that we absolutely want to make clear in everything that we do in AZSCN is that there's a role for everybody to be involved. And that role is in each of the 4 pillars. Not everybody may be the primary responder to a critical incident, but we need people who are going to call 911. We need people who may take command of a situation and help people evade out of certain doorway that they know is there. There are lots of different components to a good response to mitigate loss of life, to mitigate the other concerns that we may have in a critical incident. The greatest mistake people tend to make when we look at incident response is going to be not knowing what to do at the time an incident unfolds. And so to avoid that great mistake, really our whole goal is going to be training. And so we know there's a role for every single person inside the church.